all the staff, director, everybody at Root Institute, trustees, everybody. Joya, who provided the flowers, she was not happy with the artificial flowers that were here at Tibet House, so she put lovely flowers here this morning. So look, I'm not going to blabber anymore and waste your time, but thank you all so much for being here. And again, deep thank you to Geshe for sharing from your scholarship and your experience, from your good heart and kindness, and blessing us with your teaching. So I would request you, please, to turn the wheel of the Dharma for us.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. Indeed, it is a great joy that I say in a way, though it is very sad for the whole world, where everybody is being frozen into the space in their own place and not being able to conduct their programs the way they like, and the schools shut down, colleges all shut down, and the economy all just shattered, and education institutions could not really function properly, and then Dharma Dharma programs where otherwise, for example, say many teachers, they travel and then meet with the people, and then many people there say they have their own respective problems. Hearing the problem, they feel the healing and so forth. So this one part, and on the other hand, that there's a new normal coming up now, that it is because of this the COVID, that now the online teachings, it becomes so prevalent in the all sectors, the conferences, meetings, and so forth. And then for Tibet House as well, the way the Kabirji very clearly indicated that earlier we used to have the classes, the courses in person here in Tibet House in this hall, and then in Root Institute, and in various places like in Israel, then in Finland, in France, at Cultural Center, and then in Bangalore, Chokosuna Center, and Guwahati, Nadi Center, and then in Pune University, and the Pune, the Vajradhatu Center, and in Mumbai. So many of these programs are happening everywhere. And now, in a way, it's the great blessing that the people, for this program of the Root Institute, otherwise, people from all over the world, they will not really find it accessible to come at this particular time to Bodh Gaya. But then here through this virtual meeting, we can meet all of us. That's in a way, it's the blessing. Um, so it is the Root Institute. I was telling Kabirji that the fact is that, of course, we conduct this Bodhicitta retreat almost like minimum 3-4 times a year in various places. And the one which we do in Root Institute is special in ways of the location, number one, when our teacher, Buddha Shakyamuni, he became enlightened under the Bodhi tree there. And also we all, in big group, we all go to the place where the Buddha Shakyamuni taught all these Mahana teachings in Rajgir. Rajgir, the Vulture Peak, we go there and we just, take the aspirational Bodhisattva vow. As though like It's so like, I say, the children telling the parents, the Bodhisattva, that we are your heirs. We came here to generate Bodhicitta, the way you generate the Bodhicitta, the way you are benefiting all sentient beings. And we are also, we are here as your heirs to do the same. And then we take the experience Bodhisattva. Of course, it's a very moving experience in Bodh Gaya, undertaken by Root Institute. And the Root Institute per se, the space is so beautiful. And so this time also, the Venerable Tselala, the director of Root Institute, sent me the request if I can lead the same teaching this year as well, although virtual the online. And then, of course, I feel that this Root Institute is a one place where many people from different parts of the world, more of the perhaps many of them for the first time coming into Dharma, or for the first time coming more formally into Dharma to learn something more formally about the Buddha's teachings. So therefore, in a way, it is the great blessing for me. More, I don't know how much you will benefit, but for sure, for me, meeting with the people, this is so precious for me. And I can see that there are many of my longtime friends from many years ago, for example, like the Alexei, who must have attended like maybe 6 or 7 times the Bodhicitta retreat in many places, Dharamsala, on the Tushita Center, and then in Root Institute and in Finland, and then now he's thinking of the creating the same thing in Russia. Okay, so and Mrinalini here. So we see that there are many of my friends. Yeah, this one thing, and I can also see new faces. The point is that the to meet, to meet, to meet, and then to share our thoughts. Not only that you learn, you just listen to me, but I also learn from you. So that is so precious. And then we see that the whole world is just a small family. That's very important. Okay. So having said this, I'm also very grateful to Jennifer, who for the last like all this correspondence being happening between Jennifer and the Tibetan staff, Tibetan secretary, the Shutenla. So taking such an initiative there in Root Institute, I really thank you for supporting for being there. And then the Kabirji, who just the offered the scarf. In fact, many of you don't know who Kabirji is. That in fact, he is the founding director. He was the founding director of the Root Institute, and who really, really, really sacrificed and put everything on to the Root Institute. So this how so many directors, so many the trustees like Dorji, all these efforts are there unseen. Because of these efforts, today we are being the benefit of me having the honor of meeting all of you and all of us becoming a part of Root Institute. So, and this of course is all because of the today, because of Lama Suba Rinpoche, who I had the honor of meeting him with more personally on several occasions. And just from the meeting, I could feel the warmth, incredible compassion that he really demonstrates, number one. And then number two, that in his teachings, I can see that there's a tremendous emphasis which he places on bodhicitta and the wisdom of emptiness. In fact, to be very honest, the thing is that there are so many teachings available nowadays, particularly now it's so easy, convenient for everybody. You can just lie on the bed and just change your channels from this teaching to that teaching to this, from bodhicitta to the emptiness to the dzogchen to the mahamudra to the clear light to whatever, and dream yoga, whatever you like, you can just change the channel and you get it there. But the thing is that it's not about the teachings, it's about you should be benefited. Let's not forget this. You should be benefited. And people, we should not live in the illusion. And Albert Einstein, and oftentimes you may those people, those who already know me so well, and they are familiar that I'll quote, I'll bring many things from physics, and then those who are new, you may not be too aware as to why he's bringing all from physics, right? Okay, it's all because when I was in school, I was so fond of physics and mathematics. So if if somehow if everything went the way I had in my mind as a young child, today I would have been a physicist rather than a monk. Yeah. So don't ask me why did you become a monk. It's a different story. Okay. So the point is what I'm saying is that Albert Einstein, what he said is that he said something very interesting. He said that all our problems, the problems the world is experiencing, the individuals are experiencing, is all because of our living in the world of illusion, the optical illusion of the division between I and you, this division, that my country, your country, my religion, your religion, my family, your family. So this division is the optical illusion which is responsible for all our problems. So then he said how to solve this problem. He said that this split is a self-created prison. Prison means you're confined in a small space where you cannot go out. This is the meaning of prison. So when you have this optical illusion of I and you, this divide, then with I you feel comfortable. With you, I don't feel comfortable. So you create a barrier there. You create a wall there between you and others. So that wall is a prison, and you cannot go beyond that point. So he said, what's the solution to overcome this problem? He said that just expand the circle of love and affection from the very small circle of your near and dear ones to the all the beings. If you can do that, you dissolve this prison, and you feel that you feel at home wherever you or whoever you meet with, wherever you are, is your home. So this is what Albert Einstein said, and I fully agree with this. So this is what I could feel from Lama Subbaramushe when I met him, and then his own teacher, Lama Yeshe. Lama Yeshe Rinpoche, that's amazing, amazing. Say I would highly recommend you and me just picking up some of the books of Lama Yeshe Rinpoche. You read this, it'll make the first thing that will happen is that it'll distress you, not because it's about emptiness, bodhicitta like this. He'll just tell you, so how our problems come into being and how we can easily solve them by changing your perspective. And then there's, all these, the insensible, the problems that we create by ourselves. So he would just identify them, and then he would say how to unlock them. And then what amazing, you read it and your stress level will go down. Whereas maybe some of the writings of my lectures, people read it, oh, then that people may start to feel more and more heavy. Whereas if you read Lama Yeshe's books, the first thing he will do is that he will make you feel so light, right? So this is something so unique. I really appreciate. I would really say that these are the great bodhisattvas. It's because of these great beings that Root Institute and how many centers are there under FPMT. So through these centers, how many people, millions have benefited, millions hearts are being touched. This is so precious. And then let us not forget that all these inspirations, they come from one source, which is His Holiness the Dalai Lama. It's all because of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. There are two of them, Lama Yeshe Rinpoche and Lama Subbara Rinpoche. They feel so inspired that look at His Holiness, how he's working so tirelessly for the humanity. And we are his students. So why not we, do something that his work is the burden is less, so that he'll have, he can, there are many other things that he can, do on a very large scale in a very profound way. So this is the inspiration, the greatest inspiration for all of us is Holiness the Dalai Lama. And today we all should be very, very fortunate. As I said earlier, finally, what is this program? Is the say you can, you can lie down in a bed and then change the channels. Geshe the teaching root institute, which you have signed up, and otherwise, so there are so many other programs, this teaching, that teaching, and so forth. And interestingly, even the dream yoga, you can sleep, keep sleeping, and listen to teachings. Dream yoga is also taught there. You know, so the point is that it's not about the teachings. I'm reiterating this once more. The point is that finally, you should be benefited. You should be benefited. You should become a happier person. And how do we know this? Say 10 years ago, before you embrace the Buddha's teachings, and 10 years later, 20 years later, 30 years later, as more and more white hairs come to arise, come and more white rays come on a hair, and as you become, as you the body texture, they start to fade away, they fade away, your mind becomes happier, happier, happier. This is an indication that you have extracted the greatest meaning out of this dharma. Whereas, say, as you become older, age-wise, you become, older, and then say you start to miss the youth. When you were young, it's like, say, 16, 17, 18, 19, the peak of your youth. So if you start to miss those days, instead of becoming happier, and you feel like if there's a choice given to you that you want to go back when you were 16, 17, 18, 19, or you want to stay what are you now? If the choice is yes, I want to go back so that I will have the youth, which means that your dharma was not successful. Whereas, oh, so I don't want to go back. What I am, this is incredibly great blessing. So now I feel much happier than when I was 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 30s. If that is happening to you, this is a proof that you have been very kind to you, are being so kind to you that you have been given yourself the greatest meaning out of your life. So this is finally what we should keep in mind. So in other words, what I'm saying is that we should not deceive ourselves. We should not deceive ourselves in the pretext, in the facade of the various big teachings, like big teachings, and then, okay, big teaching, shortcut teaching, where you can just get to the reality directly. All these big advertisements are there, but we should identify who we are. This is so important, and I'm sure there are some very new, new, who to the beginners to the Dharma, the Buddha teachings, and some who are, I can see many who are already exposed to the Dharma for many years. The point is that some people say that why do we have to study all these things, emptiness, bodhicitta, and so why do we study all these things? Look at just Milarepa. Okay, just raise your hands those who know, those who heard about Jesus Milarepa. Raise your hands. Those who heard about Jesus Milarepa. Okay, many. Okay, many of you. So the point is that some people they said that why do we have to study all these things? Very complicated, Acharya Chandra with this text, Bodhicitta, and all these things. Why not practice directly and become like Jesus Milarepa, who became enlightened within a single lifetime? So they this is what I like to, in a way, it's a very good beginning here. By indicated by say identifying Jesus Milarepa, in what way say we should not deceive ourselves, right? Just looking at Jesus Milarepa, and then we think that we can be the second Jesus Milarepa. For what reason? So that you can skip the studies, you can skip the challenging studies and so forth, and then the whole purpose of studies is to become enlightened. I can become enlightened. Look at Jesus Milarepa, right? Okay, so just to bring a clarification here, this is very important. In fact, let us keep in mind that the Jesus Milarepa's own teacher, Jesus Marpa, he had many students, and before Jesus Milarepa was accepted by his teacher to be formally given the teachings, his own teacher Jesus Marpa's students, there were some brilliant students there, and whose dedication to the teacher was just exemplary. So what he said was that to cut the story short, Jesus Milarepa, he was not at all giving any teachings. He was not even receiving any teachings from Jesus Marpa, his teacher, And then instead, Joseph Marpa was, always giving some promise, giving some the hopes to Joseph Milarepa. If you construct this house, then after completion, I'll give the teaching. And again, the next completed, and again he would say change his mind, would say something else. Again, asked to construct the second house. It just kept going like this. In the process, there were other students, brilliant in intelligence, learning, devotion, practice, and so forth, but they did not become enlightened within a single lifetime the way Joseph Milarepa did. For example, say one of the students was so realized to the extent that the Joseph Marpa himself used to send some of his new students to, to this senior student, who himself become very acclaimed teacher. Then Jisoo Marpa's the wife, because that Jisoo Milarepa was really struggling so much, and then receiving beatings, not receiving teachings, and hard work of construction, so forth. Then the Jisoo Marpa's, his teacher's wife, she felt so compassionate, and she said that, okay, now we will do something. What you do is that I'll send you to Jisoo Marpa's former student, and you can receive teachings from him. And then they made the plan. He was sent there with all the things. And then the next day, Jisoo Marpa discovered what happened. So instantly he sent a message to his senior student to tell that whatever you have in your possession, bring them to my place. So they, at first, the, the student seeing Joseph Milarepa and getting, the some items which is the teacher's wife sent. He felt that, oh, these are coming from my guru. My guru's own letter, actually letter written by the wife and sealed. Seal of the guru was given there. The seal was stolen, and then he felt so blessed. He's coming from my guru. Why not? You are such a special student. And then the very next day, he received another letter saying that, oh, what have you done? Just whatever you have, bring them to me. So whatever he had, so what he did, look at the devotion of, you know, this the disciple. Actually, he himself, incredibly the say respected teacher. So he brought everything, and then the Jesu Marpa said that no, you still have your goat, the goat from which he was getting milk. His students, his own students. Your goat, one goat is left. Yes, but that goat cannot move because he had his broken arms. You bring. So he brought this student brought on his own back, and then said that, but if still something is missing, one evil person is missing, one evil person who escaped to your place, referring to Jesus Milarepa. And then he said, yes, yes, he came yesterday. Bring him also. Then so what I'm saying is that, look, so this teacher, the student of Jesus, the Milarepa's own teacher, a highly accomplished teacher, but all these other students, when Jesus Miller was accepted by Jesus Marpa, he became the foremost of all the students. Foremost of all the students, and only he became the revered to have become enlightened within a single lifetime, not other students. So there are thousands of students of Jesus Marpa, but how many is seen to have become enlightened with a single lifetime? Only Jesus Milarepa. So we can't really fool ourselves thinking that Jesus Milarepa, there are so many, the same lineage has so many students of this only one. And then on top of that, Jesus Milarepa, there were so many indications. There were so many indications from Jesus Marpa's own teacher in the dream and in other places. So on the in one of his dreams, before Jesus Milarepa was first to meet Jesus Marpa had a dream where his teacher, Jesus Naropa, the incredibly great Nalanda master, Nalanda and also Nalanda master, the he came in the dream of Jesus Marpa, and in the dream, he was handing over a stupa, like a small stupa, a very dirty stupa, to the student, Jesu Marpa, and given the instruction that clean the stupa, and once it becomes very clean, put it up on the mountain top, and the glow of this will spread far and wide. These dreams happened. So indicating that this stupa represented Jesu Milarepa, somebody who is yet to formally go into the Dharma practice. But the indications already came. And Jesu Marpa, the next day, he was waiting. He was waiting in a guise, in a guise. So these are all indications there. If these indications happen to you, then you are very special, right? Then you can expect to become enlightened within a single lifetime. And then the say Jesu Milarepa, he met some other teachers also before his actual teacher. And with the other teachers, he did not really feel connected. And his other teachers also mentioned that you have no connection with me. So you have a special connection with Jesu Marpa. The moment he heard this Jesu Marpa's name, he could just feel as though like he's hearing his father's name or the mother's name. And he just feels like choking because of, feeling so emotionally connected. So this is how all these indications were there. And many people, they live in the illusion. This is what Albert Einstein said is the optical illusion. Optical illusion that, okay, he did that, so we can be, why not us? So the thing is that he is very special in the sense that among so many students of Jesu Marpa, only he became enlightened within a single lifetime, according to the record. And then he also had many indications to himself and to his teacher also. Teacher also got the indication before two of them actually met. And the next day, the teacher was waiting for the student. When the student came, and he waited there in the guise as a farmer. And then they say Jesu Milarepa himself, just hearing the teacher's name, there is such unshakable faith. No matter how much the teacher was beating him, no matter how much the teacher was just, throwing him out of the house, his faith did not shake, waver. Okay, this is only with such person can we expect to achieve Buddhahood within a single lifetime. So the point of what I don't mean to say that the Buddha achieving Buddhahood for you within a single lifetime is not possible. This is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that two things. Let us not forget this. One is be kind to yourself. So this Bodhicitta, let us say that the agenda of this Bodhicitta, two agenda, right? One is be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Number two, be wisely kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself means who's kind to you? Who's kind to you? Like your mother when you were age 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? You were so vulnerable, and your mother is there to give love, affection. Whatever you need, she's there. So this says how you feel the kindness when you were young. At age 16, 17, the complications arise. That is a different story. Yeah. So till that point, you are so vulnerable. When you're vulnerable, the mother is always there, right? When you become a little more independent, then the complications arise, right? And you think that is a mother's problem. And we never know whether it's your problem or your mother's problem. That's a different story. So the point is that when you feel so vulnerable, who's being kind to you? Is your mother being so kind to you? So this is the meaning of be kind to yourself in ways of giving yourself the maximum happiness and getting rid of all the miseries to the best you can. Two things. Be kind to yourself means give yourself the maximum happiness to the best you can and get rid of the miseries to the best you can. This is the meaning of be kind to yourself. Number one. Then okay, today is 2020. Then after 10 years, right? Suddenly you remember, okay, now I'm in a dire situation. I'm very desperate. I have so much a problem. Oh, never mind. 10 years ago, I think it was like 2020 somewhere. So I attended some program conducted by some institute in what Bodh Gaya or like in India. So where they retreat, that person, I don't know what is name, Dorji, something, you know. So what he said is that be kind to yourself. Yeah, I should be kind to myself. Now I'm so desperate. I'm so unhappy. Nothing good is happening to me. I'm hopeless. I'd rather go to the pubs. Right? I should be kind to myself to ease myself of my tension. I go to the pubs. You go to the pubs, you drink, right? And then you are in high, and then your problems subside temporarily. Again, the problems become worse. You go deeper into the problems. Okay, you are trying to be kind to yourself, but you are being unwisely kind to yourself. Unwise. This is not being wise. So the second part should not be missed. Be wisely kind to yourself. The first one is be kind to yourself, and second one is be wisely kind to yourself. Okay, this is what we need to keep in mind. Okay, having said this, now the Bodhicitta retreat usually Bodhicitta retreat is for like 7 days. It's a residential program, a 7 days program where we spend minimum like 32 hours of studies, and then about like 16 hours of practice, morning practice, and then about like 16 hours of 16 hours of group discussion. So that is because of the proper setting, proper setup, in a proper setup where everybody the stays together, eat together, and then we study together. So everything is in one the in one place, so that this is possible. Whereas now that we all scattered, we can't really think of sitting like 10, 12 hours in one place like this, right? So therefore, and although the request was being made from Venerable Anisenela and also Jennifer, the coin, and that we can have the whole day program, but practically speaking, is not feasible. So we decided to go for a very short one, just to give you a gist of what happens in the Bodhicitta retreats. Number one, and then if you feel that okay, the from this whatever the intro of what the Bodhicitta retreat is like, then you can, and many of you are actually already a part of this course from the earlier retreats in Root Institute and in other places as well. So the then the if you feel comfortable, most likely when the COVID subsides later on, and we can have programs, the same program, Dorji retreat in full full-fledged form in Root Institute and also in other places. So we can join in there. Okay. So with this, the usually the point, as I said earlier, let us the keep in mind that the finally, what is this program, Bodhicitta retreat? It's the main agenda, as I said earlier, remains the same. That is, be kind to yourself and be wisely kind to yourself. And His Holiness the Dalai Lama, when he was invited to give a public address in Delhi University to a huge group, at the end of the talk, one young girl stood up to ask a question to His Holiness. The question was, what's the purpose of life? And His Holiness, without second thought, said that we live on hope. We live on hope, and we hope for happiness. So the purpose of our life is genuine happiness. Genuine happiness is the purpose of life. So the point is that be kind to yourself means, be kind to yourself means try to extract the greatest happiness to the best you can, and to stay away from miseries to the best you can. Okay, this is the main agenda. Now, with this, today's going to be like intro, and also it's going to be like the summary, the synopsis of what we're going to do for the all four sessions. It's going to be very short though, It's that if I ask you question as to, they say, what what do you really like, what do you really like in your life? And then the some of you who are already into philosophy may say that, oh, I want to help others, then I want to become enlightened, or I want to have my mental defilements removed, right? And some people who are more who are more new, you you know you may say that, the okay, to be very honest, I joined this just like to refresh myself. Otherwise, I like promotion in my job. I like BMW car. I dream of having a BMW car, or I dream of having a good house, or I dream of going. I dream of, they say, COVID subside so that I can go for adventure and so forth. Right? Fine. Just the point is that in this the 4 day journey, the studies to be a part of the Bodhicitta retreat, what we can say is that whenever, the many of you know that, on those who are new, just feel free to say, if you have some questions, raise your hands, and then where I ask questions, give your answers from the heart. Don't give your philosophy answers, right? In some cases, your philosophy and your heart, these two are same. Then fine, you can give the philosophy. If your heart and the philosophy, these two are different, then give the answer from the heart, not from the philosophy. Finally, this heart should be affected. This heart should be transformed. You're getting it? That you should become a happier person. Your philosophy may change, but if the heart remains the same, if your the basic thinking remains the same, you remain just the unhappy person all the way down, although you have a very sophisticated philosophy. So the point is that with the as your philosophy, as you learn the philosophy more, the philosophy and your heart, finally, eventually, this philosophy must be gradually translated into the heart. This should become one. Okay. So here, should I, when I ask questions, I would highly suggest you to give your answers according to what you feel, not necessarily what you heard, what you feel. Okay. With this, they say, if I ask you the question, I'm not asking. If I ask you the question, say the whether you have encountered, whether you have encountered with difficulties in your life, and I'm sure, say like 99% of the participants will say, yes, I face difficulties. And acute difficulties, yes. Yes. You don't want that? Yes. Okay. And if I ask you, you want the happiness? Yes. What degree of happiness? And then happiness can be in different forms. Some may say, as I said earlier, I want to have more money. I want to have good health. I want to be just, be in a good family. Or the, say the I want to I want to see my child growing nicely, and then I want to see that other people are benefited. And with the COVID, I want to see that the COVID subsides so that people can go back to normalcy. So you have your various aspirations. And if I ask the second question, why do you want the COVID to subside so that people can go back to normalcy? Everybody go back to normalcy. Why? That makes me happy. Why do you want to go on an adventure? That makes me happy. Why do you want to be in a good family? That makes me happy. Why do you want more money? Then when I become sick, I can go to the best of the hospitals, and then I can, really help many other people. So what I say, if you can go to the best of the hospital and you can help others, then I feel very happy. In other words, what I'm saying is that if you ask the second question, for the to the first question, answers may differ, but to the second question, all answers will boil down to the same, so that I feel happy. In other words, whether you're male or female, it doesn't matter. Whether you are, say, the believer or non-believer, it doesn't matter. Everybody is seeking happiness. Everybody is seeking to get rid of miseries. This is reality. Let us not forget this. And some people, they may not agree with me saying that I don't really seek happiness. At times, at times, when I was conducting some programs or psychology course, and then I just took for granted that people say that yes, I'm seeking happiness, and some said no, I don't really seek happiness. I seek fulfillment. I seek ease. That's very true. It's different labels, right? If you're not happy with the word happy, if you're not happy with the word happy, delete it and replace it with any word that you like. That I want fulfillment. I want contentment. I want satisfaction. I want, they say, the ease of my life. Ease. Just go for that word. That's fine. Okay. So in other words, we are all seeking that. Whether you boy or girl, it doesn't matter, right? And this is same. It's not that if you're boy, if a boy, then you're the happiness that you're seeking, the degree of happiness that you're seeking is more. If you're a girl, the degree of happiness seeking is less. Or if you're a girl, the degree of happiness seeking sort is paying more, and for the boy is less. No, that's not true. It's just identical. And then what degree of miseries you want to get rid of, if possible, 100%. Also the same between the boys and the girls, males and females. There's no difference. This is reality. And the next question is whether or not this is feasible. This is the biggest question. Whether or not this is possible. Whether or not I can have the maximum happiness and I can get rid of all the sufferings. The answer is 100% yes. 100% yes. Okay, let's say that, say for me, okay. Once, for example, say several years, many years ago, when the card system, card for travels, okay, the bank card exists many years ago. And in the travel, for example, say the first time the metro was introduced in America or in India, and with this the card system, where you can just put the card with the money there, and then it opens the door, and then you get in. Okay, so there was one person was already exposed to this system with a card, and another person, the other person, second person, was not exposed to this system, did not even hear about this system. It was just coming into play. And then the first person, so the did not really buy any the ticket. Usually we have to buy ticket. When you go there, buy ticket. So the first person went there at the gate and put the card, took out the card and put the card there, and the gate opened, and then the person left. And second person also put, okay, I also have a card, my ID card from my institution. Also put the card there. It didn't open, and then the guard came. What happened? So the gate is not opening. Oh, do you have a card? He said, yes, I have the card. Show me the card. Card is his office ID card. Is not the travel card. And then he said that, but the other person, he put his card and then the gate opened, and mine did not. And he said that these two cards are different. You're getting it? So the point is that in order for this card to work, it should have some money inside. Money should be deposited. You're getting it? Likewise, what I'm saying is that for you to make this possible, to have the maximum happiness, to make suffering zero, there should be some potential inside. Do you have that potential? Do you have that potential inside for the maximum happiness and where the suffering can be zero? Do you have that potential? This question, right? So with a card which does not have any money inside, any money there, no matter you put 10 cards there, it will not work. But if you put one card with the money, it works because it has the potential. Likewise, each one of us, do we have this potential? This question. Potential for the maximum happiness, for zero suffering. Do we have that potential, which everybody's seeking? Do we have that potential? This question. Answer is yes. Answer is yes. And this, each one of us, we must gain conviction in this, that we all have this potential for infinite happiness and to make our suffering zero. We must have this conviction. And how to have this conviction? This next question. How do they have this conviction? It's not like blind faith. It's not like blind faith. Keep in mind that in Buddhism, in the Buddha's teachings, the emphasis is on the rationality. Rationality. This is very important. Emphasis should be on the rationality. Okay. One time, what happened? Okay, rationality. This is so important. One time, I received early morning. I received a phone call from the somebody who attends my teachings, and then this lady on a phone said that, Geshe, I'm going to quit Buddhism. I said, okay. So it's not too auspicious for me early morning. Early morning, somebody said, I'm going to quit Buddhism. I said, okay, fine. May I know what's the reason? And let us all listen to the reason. And she said that because I prayed to Tara, I prayed to Buddha. Last 3 years, I prayed to Buddha, I prayed to Tara, but my prayers are never answered. I said, okay, what kind of prayer? And she said that my brother is not getting a job. I've been praying to Tara, I'm praying to Buddha, please make sure that my brother gets a job. All these 3 years, I said a prayer and it did not work. Now I'm going to quit Buddhism. I said, okay. So I told her that, okay, don't become a Buddhist simply because your brother needs a job. You're getting it? Don't become a Buddhist because your brother needs a job. Okay. I said that if you're hungry, don't pray to Buddha. Buddha, please remove my hunger. Go to the kitchen. Right? If you're hungry, go to the kitchen. Don't pray to Buddha. Don't become a Buddhist. Don't become a Buddhist if you are hungry. If you're hungry, go to the kitchen. Right? If you're sick, go to hospital. If you're thirsty, go to get water. Don't pray to Buddha. Buddha, I'll become a good Buddhist if you give me water. Don't pray. Go to water. Go to kitchen and get water, right? And then I told her that if your brother wants a job, don't become a Buddhist. What you do is tell your brother, hey, don't go to the pubs, don't go to nightclubs, stay home, study well, crack the entrance exams, and get a decent job, right? This is what you should advise your brother instead of you becoming a Buddhist. So the point is that we should be very rational. Finally, it's not for you to become a Buddhist, it's for you to have your happiness and for you to get rid of your miseries. That is the purpose, right? And the labels, they're just all secondary, right? The point is that you should become the happier person and your miseries should go down. This should be the purpose. Okay, with this in mind, the point is that, say, we all have the potential to have the maximum happiness to get rid of all suffering. So how do we know that? How do we know that? So these all should come rationally. You're getting it? This is so important. There are things which only rationality can take you there. There are things where your prayers can take you there. There are different sections. You're getting it? There are things where rationality can take you there. For example, if you want to become a Nobel laureate in physics, study physics well. Just praying to Buddha, Om Muni Muni Ma Muni So, Om Muni Muni Ma Muni So, you recite it 100,000 times every day, whole day, night. I guarantee that you will not become a Nobel laureate in physics, right? If you really want to become a Nobel laureate in physics, study physics well. Study equals MC squared well. You're getting it? That is important. Simply by making prayers, you will never become a Nobel laureate in physics. Don't expect that. You're getting it? This is known as the rationality. Yet, there are things which prayers work. It's not that the prayers don't work at all. You're getting prayers do work, but it has a different section. And where prayers don't work, there is one section. You are hungry, go to the kitchen. You're getting it? If you want to become Nobel laureate in physics, study physics. Right? Okay. So the point is that whether or not we have the potential. So we don't just take for granted. Don't just blindly follow. This is the point. Don't just blindly follow. Study first. Listen. What somebody is telling you, yes, it is possible, it is not possible. Whatever the person is saying, just see if it makes sense. You're getting it? just say if it makes sense. Then, then you can embrace it. In other words, one must need to have the wisdom, intelligence to see whether to process information and to make a correct judgment. That's so important. It's for this reason that the Buddha emphasized so much on the need to sharpen your intelligence. Okay, so this the connects me to what the when I was in Cambridge. When I was in Cambridge, 2000, like now, some of you are not even born. Yeah, some of you are not born, most likely, or you one or two at least. Okay, um, 2003, when I was in Cambridge as a fellow, and I met a physicist. He is really, really exceptionally brilliant physicist. And I guarantee that from this group, I don't know how many of you can really have a cordial talk with him. It's so difficult to talk to him. You just say one or two lines, and he'll say that you have internal contradiction. You cannot even talk. This says, how bright he is. He can just see the internal contradictions in what they're talking in just within like one or two lines. Then the two of us, we started to have discussions, more intense discussions. And then at one point, it was already very late. We were invited to the birthday party of one of our common friends. And two of us, we started to have the discussions, debates, and then it was like 10 p.m., 11 p.m. Everybody left. Two of us still doing that, and the host became so desperate and said that, okay, now two of you can continue the debate later on. Please leave the house. So this physicist, he told me that, okay, Dorji, we have to meet again. I said, okay. And then he said, I'd like to invite you for a dinner. We'll continue a debate there. So he invited me for a dinner, me and our common friend as well. So we were there. And again, he started at his house. We started the debate after 1 week. Then he said, okay, by the way, I'm just curious. Out of this group, how many of you are from from physics background? Raise hands. Physics background. Okay, Leo, one. Anybody? Okay, physics background meaning your undergrad or the undergrad in physics, major physics, marine energy. Okay, so less. Okay, never mind. What is that? Was that in this world, only physics is education. This is what he said. I'm not saying it. This is what he said. Only physics education, which means that we, except for one or two, except for Leo and Mrinalini, all of us are not from education. He said only physics is education. And I said, why? He said, okay, listen to what he has to say. Because only physics allows you to have a critical thinking. All others are imitation of the earlier teachers. This is what he said. Okay, then I told him, okay, at least you gave a reason. Otherwise, if I'm to blindly follow you, or if I'm to follow blindly follow you without any rationality that I have to follow you, then it's very uncomfortable for me. At least you gave a reason. So listen what the Buddha has to say. Then I quoted the Buddha. The Buddha said, wise men and women and the bhikshus, just as the goldsmith tests the purity of the gold by cutting, rubbing, and burning the gold, you should also examine my words and put them into practice, not simply because you respect me. He remained silent for a few seconds. Then he said, oh, the Buddha must have been a great physicist. Okay, so what I'm saying is that, so this should be our approach. Our approach must be this. So with this approach, where you just feel free to ask questions. If you don't feel convinced, continue to ask questions. Feel free to ask questions, which is so precious. With questions, your answers will be resolved. Cognitively, when your answers are resolved, cognitively, when your answers are resolved, then this will help you to transform your feelings. You start to get the feeling of ease. This ease will make your actions very smooth. For example, say if you tell me I'm so interested in physics, so if you talk to me about physics and then sensible physics, then I'll be very happy because cognitively I'm being enriched. As I see that I'm cognitively becoming enriched, then the feeling that I get is very pleasant feeling. And then that makes me my action of being with you more, cordial and at ease. Okay, so look, this is how your cognitive thought process is related to the feelings, which in turn is related to the emotional states, how your mind reacts, emotional states. And your emotions decide whether you're a happy person or unhappy person. So the point is that finally, what we learn should be translated into your internal, the conviction on a basis of gaining confidence in what you're learning, not just being able to mimic what somebody said it. First, you have to mimic and then see what you are mimicking makes sense. When you start feeling that, okay, that makes sense, then the transformation starts to happen within you. On that is the cognitive realization is happening. With the cognitive realization happening, then the transformation starts to take place within you. So that is the meaning of the spiritual transformation. Okay, with this mind, what I'm saying is that the approach should be the 4 sessions approach should be that if you have questions, and particularly in the end, I leave some time for question answer. Feel free to ask questions, particularly if you have. The best would be related to the topic we covered. If not, anything you feel like asking, I would be very happy. You'll be learning from myself as well. Okay, so with this, what I'm saying is that the rationality is so precious. Rationality is so precious, and on that basis, we need to have a sense of inquiry, sense of the questioning. That is so precious. Never suppress your questions. This is so important. Okay, with this, the point is whether or not, how do we know that each one of us, we have the potential for 100% happiness and to get rid of all the sufferings? This question. So with this, the one book that I would suggest, of course, is not like reading a novel. It's a little technical. We have to study this. This is known as Dharma Stava. Dharma Stava in praise of Dharma Dhatu, in praise of Buddha nature, in praise of Dharma Dhatu, by Arya Nagarjuna. This text, explains so beautiful, richly. It explains how every one of us has the full potential for, say, the infinite happiness and the zero suffering. Okay, this is from this book. This book is very precious. Okay, so in other words, this reality that you have the maximum potential for the infinite happiness and zero suffering, that is something not confined to the males. There is something not confined to the females. It is both. Both have the same potential. With this being the reality which the Buddha saw 2,500 years ago, he became such a strong advocate, a revolutionary in terms of removing the caste system, in terms of removing the gender discrimination. This is what for? Because he saw that finally the real treasure is the treasure inside, the treasure where if unfolded in full form, then you get the maximum happiness and you are suffering zero. And this is the greatest treasure. And with this treasure, there's no difference between males and the females. So why the gender discrimination should be there? Whereas if this treasure is like the bigger share in the males and the smaller share in the females, then okay, that is fine. That it makes sense to say that males are more important than the females. This is what the Buddha really found that this treasure is the same. And we say that, oh, Albanians is very important, in his honor. People, they organize parties, people organize the luncheon and so forth. Why? Because his knowledge is better than others, right? Because his knowledge is better than others. So his knowledge is so unique, and he is a genius. So now, in terms of the real genius, genius meaning the knowledge or the potential, whatever. So this, in terms of real, the quality of being genius. So that is the potential of the purity for infinite happiness and the with no suffering. And that potential, when you speak about that potential, everybody has the same potential. Males, females, there's no difference. Believer, non-believer, there's no difference. High, low, there's no difference. Educated, uneducated, no difference. So therefore, the Buddha was the one who he so courageously said that somebody from the higher strata of the human civilization, regarded as from the higher strata and the lower strata, there's no difference. These were just equal. There's no reason why this demarcation should be created. And there should be no reason why, on the basis of gender, say the preference should be given to the males and not to the females. There should be no reason. So he was so courageously stepped forward to break all these inequalities, to remove all these inequalities. For what reason? Because he gained the conviction that everybody has the same potential for the ultimate happiness. Okay. So the next question is that, okay, so how do we know that such a potential is there? Such a potential is there, that I also have this potential, right? I also have this potential, full potential. So I'm going to give you a very simple example. And then I would highly recommend you to study the text, In Praise of Dharmadhatu, the Dharmadhatu Stava, or In Praise of Dharmadhatu by Aranigarjuna. I would highly recommend you to study that text. Okay. Then the example that I'm going to give here is that, say say a mind. A mind is like say a mind, although it seems so defiled, right? A mind seems so defiled. And okay, how many of you, just raise hands, how many of you really get the happiness the way you want? You're actually getting this happiness, right? And I don't know what suffering means, right? Okay, is there anybody who does not know what is suffering? I never experienced what suffering is. And the happiness, I have the infinite happiness. I have no problem with this. Okay, is there anybody who belong to this category? Okay, not really. Okay, never mind. Never mind. But the fact that we don't experience this means that that is a mind. There's a little problem there. Little problem. It doesn't mean that we have to go to mental hospital, right? Okay, let's say. Let me give you. I give you one example. Let's say that the okay, Jennifer. Jennifer wants to take us for a pilgrimage. Let's say that, okay, COVID will subside after 2 weeks, and then we all come to Ruin Shoot, and she will take us to for a pilgrimage to Mount Kailash. So we all go to Mount Kailash. For that matter, she wants us that the Mount Kailash is a very beautiful, sacred mountain, snow mountain, and there is the glare. The glare is very strong. The glare is very strong. You have to have goggles. So she said that there are two shops there. You buy the goggles, right? And we all go there. The shop A, we buy, and the shop A says, okay, now the only for say like let's say only for half the number of the people I have, otherwise out of stock, and the remaining goes to the second shop. The first shop, the goggles are on the goggles are made from very high quality. I don't want to say which country, is going to be complication, right? Okay, so from a company, a very sophisticated company, is high class, And the second one was is so locally made. Locally it doesn't mean India, right? Any local, locally made. Okay, locally made. And it's not really of quality. There's no quality there. It's very murky. The glass itself, the glasses are very murky. Okay, so we all go there. Group A and Group B. Group A are the goggles from the good company. Goggle B from the bad company. So we go there, and then Jennifer created such excitement within us that it's a very holy place. When you're there, make sure that you enjoy Mount Kailash. The view is so beautiful, exotic. Okay, so we reach there, and then Group A looks at it. Wow, it's amazing, sparkling. Group B looks at it, what is this? So dirty, right? So, Jennifer, do you mean to say that this is the Mount Kailash? This is the beautiful, sparkling. Do you mean to say that this is what is sparkling? You come to my place, I'll show you what sparkling is, right? Okay, look, Group A sees Mount Kailash is so beautiful and sparkling. Group B sees that, okay, it's very murky, it's very dusty, it's not at all sparkling. Okay, the two groups, are you looking at the same object or different objects? You are looking at the same object. You're getting it? If you look at the same object, how come that one is enjoying it and the other one is not enjoying it? Why? It's not because of the object, it's a subject. You're getting it? It's because of subject. So when you look at the same object through the lens, through a very dirty lens, invariably you see the object is dirty, right? So say you were looking at the same object, Mount Kailash. One looks at it through a very clean lens and it sees such a sanctified, the, 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 the blazing, beautiful, amazingly glowing Mount Kailash. And the other one sees, what is this? Right? It's very dirty, murky, dusty, snow. Okay. So you are looking at the same object, but depending on the lens, through what lens you are looking at the object, that determines how you're seeing the object. You're getting it? Now, the people look at the objects around, the world around. Enlightened beings, they look at the world around. People whose mind are cleansed, they look at through the lens of the mind, pure mind. They see everything is divine. And whereas the ordinary people like us, always there's a complaint there, right? Always there's a complaint. Okay, if there's an artificial flower there on the table, I would say it's artificial. If somebody brings a fresh flower, I would say it'll last only for 2 days, right? Artificial flower can last for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. The real flower can last for only 2-3 days. Again, you have extra work for you. Again, you have to dump it. I can look for new flowers, right? It'll last only for 2 days. Okay. So what I'm saying is that it's just how you look at things. So you wake up, there's some problem, right? I'll say the Monday mornings, how many of you are excited to wake up early in the Monday mornings? Or how many of you are excited on the Friday evenings? Friday evenings, we're all excited. And the Monday mornings, our mind simply, our mind deflates on Monday mornings, right? This is how our mind works. And then interestingly, that even for the school children, I don't think there's any school children here. School children say the morning bell, the morning bell, or they would come to the class. Morning bell is so unpleasant to hear, whereas the evening bell, the bell to finish the class, the bell is so pleasant to hear that just waiting to hear this bell. It's the same bell. No, this is a perspective. You're getting it? So when we look at things, when we look at things from the lens of a dirty lens, from a lens of a dirty mind, from a lens of a defiled mind, we are bound to see things as imperfect. So the secret of the happiness, secret of getting rid of the miseries, they all lie in cleansing your mind. Just purify your mind, cleanse the mind, and you look at Mount Kailash, is so beautiful. Just just cleanse your, say, goggles, purify, cleanse your goggles. You see that it's so beautiful. The world that we see, looked at seen through the lens of the pure mind, that is nirvana. The world that we see through the lens of a dirty mind, that is samsara. So therefore, Arya Nagarjuna said that samsara and nirvana are the same thing. It's the same Mount Kailash. It's the same Mount Kailash seen in two different ways. The same reality seen through the lens of a dirty mind is samsara. The same reality seen through the lens of the pure mind, that is nirvana. We are looking at the same thing. So it is for this reason that Arya Nagarjuna, in his text, Mula Madhyamika Karika, he said that the samsara and nirvana are the same, are the same. It doesn't mean that samsara is free of suffering. This is not the connotation. The connotation is that the samsara and nirvana, how you look at it, how you look at it. You look at it through your very defiled state of the mind, lens of a defiled mind. You're bound to see the imperfect. That is samsara. The same thing you look at through the lens of a very pure mind. You see things so pure. That is nirvana. This is the you're looking at the same thing. It's the same thing. You can. So therefore, some teachers, some great enlightened teachers, they say that where you are living, that is samsara. Where you're living, that is nirvana also. It depends on how you look at it. Okay. So the secret of happiness lies inside us, inside in your own hands. So with this in mind, okay, with this in mind, with this in mind, usually I do one exercise, and those of us who are already familiar with this is fine for you. For others, okay, for all of us, just stretch your two hands. Stretch your two hands. Okay, good. Okay, now do what I'm doing. Very good. Okay, so what happened? And some of you may think, what is this? It's a small children's game, right? It has a great, great significance, right? It is a metaphor for an incredible great meaning. Is that, say, the sound of this clap, the sound of this clap is the metaphor for all the miseries that we go through. And just as this sound of for the sound of the clap to come into being, two hands are required. Two hands are required for all the miseries, for any miseries, for any misery for us to feel, for us to go through, must come into being through the combination of two factors, external factor and internal factor, two factors. Unfortunately, many people, they think that happiness lies outside. Happiness lies outside. Misery is also outside. So I can run away from miseries and go to happiness. So this is what they think. Without money, or without companions, without pubs, or without nightclubs, then it's a miserable life. This is what many people think. With money, with friends, with pubs, with BMW, and these is the ultimate happiness. Many people think like that. This is very unfortunate. And the point is that let us not be too dogmatic. Let us not be too dogmatic. The point is that if you have the money, if you have the friends, if you have the, say, BMW, and if you have the, say, whatever, the best things, if that really gives you 100% happiness, that is your spirituality. Go for it. Right? Let's not be dogmatic. No, this is totally wrong. What he's saying, what is Geshe saying? The Buddhas are very different. Buddha left everything. Buddha left the palace. He went into solitude. This is spirituality. He's saying something opposite. No, this is not a point. I'm not saying that BMW is the spirituality. This is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that if these things, which many people believe to give you the ultimate happiness, if these things really give you ultimate happiness, that is your spirituality. Seeking these is your spirituality. You're getting it? This is the point. Whereas if you by pursuing this, you go deeper into the problems, deeper and deeper into problems, then this is not a spirituality. You are seeking happiness, and you are diving into miseries. Okay. The one time I was at the airport, I was at the airport, and there was one gentleman, and he was really proper, but properly dressed, very nice, very decent. And he came to me. Just we don't know each other. He just came to me. He started smiling at me. He said, "Okay, you are going to Dharamsala." I said, "Yes." And I asked him, "Where are you going?" He said, "I'm going to one place." Okay, I don't want to mention it, otherwise you may disclose the who the person is. And the person, "I want to go to this place." I said, "Okay, what for you came to Delhi?" And the person said, "I came for a litigation case." I said, "I see." Okay, this is complicated. He said that literally I have 700 litigation cases, he said. And he introduced himself as his owner of a five-star hotel, some chains of five-star hotel. And then he said that I have these litigation cases, all fights over the properties, the siblings, property fights. So that was what is happening. So what I'm saying is that in pursuit of the material happiness, material, the possessions, the deeper you go, the deeper you dive into miseries. This is the reality. Meanwhile, it doesn't mean that, okay, which means that I have to get rid of all the good things that I have. Okay, I do have a BMW, I have to remove this. I have a good family, I have to remove this. And I get good food, then I remove this. This is not the point. This is not the point. The point is that, let us not forget the two hands, right? Both hands contribute to your miseries. Both hands. Say external factors and internal factors. External factors means no proper food, no food. It's an external factor. And the internal factor we learn. Bodhicitta retreat, the purpose is to identify what that internal factor is. So external factor, no food, no cars, no medical facilities. These are all external factors to create problems, to create the sound of miseries, right? So external factors are important. It's not that we have to neglect the external factors. No, simply because you are now becoming a part of you're becoming a part of Root Institute program, right? Okay, now I'm into a Root Institute program, Root Institute Dharma Center. So therefore, Dharma means I have to get rid of all my, I say the good food, good house, and good friends, BMW. I have to get rid of all these. This is a total misconception. Let's not forget this. In the first place, my question to you is, say, if you are attached to any particular center, Buddhist center, if you're attached to any particular center, how many of you, just raise your hand, you first went to the center saying that I have so much happiness, I don't know how to get rid of the happiness, please teach me how to get rid of my happiness. How many went there with this motivation? Raise hands. I have so much happiness. I have BMW. I have this good family, these things. So I don't know how to get rid of. I have to minimize my happiness. So please teach me how to get rid of my happiness. Raise hands. Those who went to center, please teach me how to get rid of my happiness. No one. Okay. I have problems, but I have so much problem. I have problems. So please teach me how to get rid of my problems. How many of you went to the center with this motivation? Raise hands. This is, yes, exactly. This is the reality. You're getting it? So therefore, the Dharma Center should teach us how to remove your miseries, not how to remove your happiness. You're getting it? Dharma centers are not to teach us how to get rid of your happiness. Because we went there, we did not go there to seek them, to request them to teach you how to get rid of to get rid of happiness. No, you do not go there with that motivation. So from there, the real meaning of renunciation is to get rid of your sufferings, not to get rid of happiness. So therefore, some people when they come to me and then they become a little close to me, and then okay, Geshe, now I'm into full session with Dharma. Earlier, the boy or the girl whosoever is very fashionable, very nice looking, right? Very nice and very presentable. And then after coming to Dharma and coming close to Geshe, and then even the dress becomes very shabby, right? Everything becomes so shabby, and then this is dharma, right? And then when cooking, hands are dirty, and the hands clean up on your own shirt like this. I said, please don't do this. Please don't do this. Change your mind. No need to change your physical appearance. Change your mind. This is dharma. You're getting it, becoming shabby. Now I'm to dharma. Okay, so even the outsiders, people also have a say very wrong impression. When you go to dharma, okay, now can we invite you for a party because you went to dharma, you went to Buddhism? Can I invite you for a birthday party? Right? Okay, we are going for a holiday. Can I invite you because you went to dharma? As though like dharma person cannot not allowed to eat good food, not allowed to relax, not allowed to listen to music. No, these are all wrong connotations. These are all wrong connotations. You're getting it? So dharma means say a means, teachings to help us to remove our miseries and to enrich our happiness. Let's not forget this. You're getting it? Okay. With this in mind, say the two hands, one symbolizes external factors and the other symbolizes internal factors. Okay. And now on from this group, I can see that there are many who already know me so well. And I'd like to give chance to those who are say listening to this talk for the first time, right? Okay, I'd like to give chance to those people. So my question to you is, say, can you just share with us any problem that you face in your life? Any problem that you face in life? Just raise hands. Anybody? Raise hands. Okay. Huh? Huh? Josephine? Okay, Josephine. Unmute.
Unmute, yes.
Yes. Can you
Is
share with us?
What's problem?
Yes, yeah. Can you just share with some experience or problem?
I think it's probably the environment sometimes.
Okay, environment problem. Like what?
COVID-19.
Sorry?
COVID-19.
COVID-19. COVID-19 is a problem. Yes.
Because you see, everybody are very stressed.
Yeah, exactly. We cannot go to restaurants.
No, I'm not stressed. Not going to restaurant. I'm okay. No problem. Staying
Then?
at home, no problem. Cooking, no problem. Yeah. But
yes.
I think a lot of my friends are the daughters are affected by COVID-19, or some are so not used to not going out. I mean, you feel that hearing all these things, it's quite difficult, but they can't adjust. Okay. That's affecting me, I think. They can't adjust.
Okay, you cannot adjust, is what you say?
Not me, I can adjust. They can't adjust. So I felt for them. I mean, I can adjust, not a problem. But they can't adjust. Okay, I mean, so they're feeling very difficult.
They cannot adjust.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you, Josephine. Anybody else? Okay, I like to listen to at least like 2 or 3 people. Just raise hands, those who are new. Others who they already know me so well. Okay, anybody? Okay, Martha.
So my recent problem is my main teacher said some things to me that really harmed me, and it really disturbed my mind, and I'm not sure how to respond to it.
Okay, okay. Say your main teacher said something, it hurts you, and you didn't know how to respond to it. Okay, good. Okay, maybe last. Anybody? Anybody? Raise hands. Okay, Ryla. Yes. Tell me, unmute.
Yes, thank you. I'm working on this international law for environment protection, and I noticed that when I know that I will speak about it publicly, I notice this fear because of the possible confrontation. And I understand it is from external and internal.
Okay. Yes, yes. It is the problem of the feeling the fear over people confronting you if you speak the reality in favor of the environment?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, good. Good. The okay. So actually, I would say that these are more like a very serious points you brought up. Really, very important points. And what Ryla said is a very serious matter about the environment, and what Josephine is talking about is about the, I say, the other people not being able to adjust, right? Adjust. Yeah, this one thing. And then who else was that? Martha. Yes, okay. So how your mind, you do not know how to respond to the to the hurt that you felt because your teacher said something which is quite offensive. Okay, so these are all very tricky point I should be touching. They're always like the mainstream and the exceptions. You're getting it? So these all three things, they are very important, serious, very serious questions. They should all go into the exception case. Okay, don't worry. The Had it be the case that we have more time, we do many exercises in between to really gain conviction in what we are, say the sharing. So one thing is that say, generally speaking, okay, these things I'll be very happy to address. And the Raila, Josephine, and Martha, through of you, I would highly the request to you that at least within these four sessions, towards the closer towards the end, I would request you to say the remind me your questions, because these are very important questions. If I deal with them right now, it is as though like there are things which can be disclosed only when people are matured and ready. You're getting it? Because there are many things we call as keep out of reach of children. You agree with me? Right? There are many things like the medicines. We say that if you read it, you say that it says that keep out of reach of the children. So only when these children they grow older, then we can just freely give these or let them close by the children. But whereas otherwise, say these issues, they are very sensitive issues, very important, yes, sensitive. These to understand the answers to these questions, we should be a little more matured. So I hope at least for the next within like the next three sessions, people will become more matured to listen to these answers. Okay, but I'll request two of you to remind me your questions later on as well. Okay, so what I'm saying is that our problems, they are the 99.9%, if not 100%. These problems involve two factors, external factors and internal factors. Okay, this says what you have to keep in mind. And external factors like COVID-19, right? COVID-19, and then the internal factors, there's something in the air, right? What is this internal factor? This is we have to explore. So then COVID-19 is external factor. And then let's say that that I drink this juice and then after a while I have a stomach upset problem, right? Now Delhi is winter. And because the winter plus the cold, I take it and then I have stomach problem. So I said that, how dare that you keep the cold juice here in winter? Okay, I'll blame like this. Okay, then so we see that all these problems are there. These problems, believe it or not, there are always two factors, external factors and internal factors. You're right. So usually we do one exercise. I don't want to do this exercise here. It'll take a little time. So usually we do the exercise. I ask the people to do a mathematical calculation. Simple mathematical calculation. Plus minus the two numbers below 3, right? Very simple numbers. I ask them to do the mathematical calculation. First, I say the numbers very slowly. And then at the end, I ask them to give the answer. They give the correct answer. In the second part, I say the same numbers, but very fast. And they cannot give the answer. Then I ask, what's the reason why you cannot give the answer? Most of the people they will say that because you said it so fast. I'm sure this group will also say that you said it You said it so fast. Yes, that's true. I said it so fast. That is the external factor. And your brain works so slow. That is the internal factor, right? And we don't blame our brain that my mind is not as fast as Albert Einstein. We don't blame that. You only blame the external, right? So the point is that in all cases, in all our problems, we are so expert in blaming outside because of COVID-19, because you said it's so fast, because it's very cold juice, right? And then say the Jennifer, he would say, okay, welcome all of you for the next Bodhicitta retreat 2021 in Rudi Institute in person. And then she gives you a single room. And you say that I feel lonely. She gives a double room. You see that I have no privacy. So this is a problem where external factors is just how many, in the first place, how many such external factors are there responsible for your miseries? How many external factors are there, right? We are so expert, we are addicted to pointing our finger to the external factors all the time. Okay, so it is wrong, it is sinful to point your finger outside for your problems. It's sinful. No, there's no sin. The point is that if you put your fingers to the external factors, and if your problems subside, that is your dharma, right? Finally, your problem should subside. Your happiness must proliferate. This is the point, where by pointing your fingers to the external factors all the time, if your problems subside, your happiness proliferates. That is your dharma, right? That is your spirituality. Whereas in reality, whether or not that happens, is number one, we have to check how many external factors are there, right? 1, 2, 10, 100, 1,000. No, infinite number of external factors are there. So with the infinite number of external factors, you trying to remove the external factors one by one. Your lifespan is too short. Before you succeed in removing even a part of the external factors, your life will be over. So this is not wise. So our agenda is be kind to yourself and be wisely kind to yourself. We are not being wise. Okay, just imagine that, say, if there is a tree, poisonous tree, and through the poisonous leaves, wind blows, and then you have a skin rashes. What will you do? Oh, this is coming from the poisonous leaves. So you chop the leaves, or you try to remove the leaves. You try to remove the leaves. Same. Okay. After removing like 400 leaves, you will see that the 2,000 more extra 2,000 leaves grow. You're getting it? This is not wise. Then some people may chop it from the top. Okay, you are free for the next 1 month. And again, more leaves will grow. Again, it's not wise. And some people may just cut the stem. Again, for 1 year, you may be free. Again, more leaves will grow. Wise people will uproot it. Wise people uproot it. You uproot it. You don't leave even. You don't have to remove even one single leaf. However, you cut the root, and however millions of poisonous leaves they are growing, they will all dry on their own. Okay. So the point is that these leaves represent the external factors, and the root represents the internal factors. Of the two, external factors, they are innumerable in number. And even what we call as the internal factors, what we call as the conducive factors, even they become unconducive factors for us. So the point is that to really think of the same pinpointing your finger to the external factors for your problems, but this, it does not really help us. So we are pointing a finger to the external factors, blaming it and think of getting rid of this. This is what we are trying to do. Even today, on the international, say, the level, the countries, they're fighting, blaming the other country all the time, right? And in the parties, blaming the other party all the time. All these things are, and the problems simply aggravate all the time. So now let us just speculate. Let us just imagine that of the two hands, one symbolizing external and the other internal. External, like it is almost like hopeless to think of getting rid of the external factors altogether. Now, just imagine, rhetorically, just imagine, remove the internal factor. However strong the external factor is, no sound. The sound of your misery stops. The purpose for you to blame outside, inside, all these things are meant to get rid of your problems, and the problem stops when the internal factor stops. You getting it? Okay. Tell me what would be the next question. So I said that all our problems will come to an end if you stop the internal factors. Then only one hand the sound stops. Okay, so what would be your, so I said I encourage you to be very rational, right? Don't just follow blindly. So what would be your next question? Anybody, whether the newcomers, the earlier attendees, anybody, raise hands. Okay, I know Pavanila will ask the right question. Yes, Pavanila, unmute yourself.
Geshe, how do we remove the internal
I cannot
factors?
hear you.
Oh. How
Okay,
do we remove?
Yes,
how
yes,
do we
yes.
remove? How do we remove the internal factors?
Okay, how do we remove the internal factors? How many you agree with? How many agree with Pavanila? Raise your hands. How do you remove the internal factors? Okay, Stephanie. Okay, many of you. Okay, in fact, this is the, if you want to be very rational, there's another question before that. Other question before that is, what are the internal factors? And then the next point is, how can we get rid of them? You're getting it? What are the internal factors? And then how can we get rid of them? These are two questions. Okay, so today we'll leave here. One or two questions if you have. One or two questions. Okay, anybody? You just raise hands. If possible, let us give preference to those who are new, at least to me, right? Meeting me for the first time. And if people remain hesitant, then even the others can also ask. Okay, quick. Okay, while you are raising your hands, okay, Ray Tundup, yes. Ray Tundup, yes. Okay, another thing that I like to tell you is that if you raise your hands like half, like this, then your name is there. It blocks your hand, so I cannot see you. So raise your hand higher, so that I can see you. Okay, Ray Tundup, yes. Unmute, unmute, unmute.
There I am. You hear me?
Yes.
Can you? Yeah, great. When you asked the first question, the first thing that came to me was aging and being attached. But at the same time that these two things comes, there's also an answer that comes, is that I'm aware of that. So which is beautiful. So that's why I didn't raise my hand, because I have already some kind of solution seeing it. But still working since years with Dharma so effectively, I see that things are changing, but still it's there. Attachment is there.
Okay.
And the fear of aging is very strong. I'm reaching 62 now, and I still have this fear that I cope with. Very interesting.
Okay, this is a very good question. Thank you. Thank you, Ritundo. Thank you. So it's for all of us. This is a very good question. One thing is that aging, right? Okay, so what we said is that all problems can be solved. Wow, that's amazing. I've been applying the non-aging solution. right? Now I don't have to apply the non-aging solution. Somebody's there who says that, okay, all problems can be solved. Wow, that's amazing. Non-aging solutions are very expensive. Okay, so the point is that, let's say that if I say that, okay, you want to become a professor, right? If in a group of small children, say, what do you like to become? I like to become professor when I grow older. That's 100% possible. It doesn't mean that the child will become a professor within a single day. You're getting it? Some things can be done that single day. Some things have to be wait till 1 year. And to finish the professor, you have to wait for 30 years for a small child. You're getting it? So they are, say, depending on how severe the problems, to that extent, we have to wait that long. This is one reality. Okay. But that was the point. If that's the case, that was the point of the Dharma. Okay. So the reality, if I say, if I tell you that, why are you worried about the aging? Okay. Ray or anybody, just give an answer. Or Ray, you want to give the answer? Give an answer. Why you do worry about the aging?
Because of the feeling of not having enough time to accomplish.
Okay, the
Left.
feeling that
Enough time left.
Okay, feeling
enough time left.
Okay, feeling of not the feeling that I'm not left with enough time. Right? Okay, good. And anybody else? You might have, some problems. The problem is that, let's say that, okay, aging, I don't like it. I don't like it. Right? I remember when I must be like 12, and I was in school, and then there was a school nurse. There was a school nurse who must be in her, like, let's say, just 20, cross 20 or 21. And she was a little, she has this, the excitement of the youth. That was what the talk in the school. And then she was telling others that, okay, I don't want to become old. So she had this example of the youth. She said that, I don't want to become old. But of course you'll become old. Then she said that when I reach 30, I will commit suicide. Right? This was what she said, which means that becoming old, aging is not nice. What's the problem? What's the problem? If you ask ourselves, say, Ray gave a good answer, saying that I'm not left with much time. You're getting it? I'm not left with much time. This is one thing. Most of the people, say if there is anybody from the group, I'm sorry, say some people, they use the anti-aging solution, right? This will not stop the growth. This will not give you more time, which means that there's another worry. It's not only that, one is, or the time is less. No, it's that I don't want to look old. This is a problem. This is, what they want. So the point is that, what is happening if you look a little older? What's the problem? Then the real answer is that mentally I feel uneasy, right? I feel uneasy inside. Okay, this uneasiness is purely mental, right? External factors, they triggered this uneasiness. Some people, they take pride in becoming more experienced, right? And become more experienced, that I'm older, I'm more experienced. And I, honestly speaking, I personally, just sharing with you, that when I hit 40, say many of the judgments or the decisions, I started to take the decisions, they quite properly, meaning that the decisions that I did, I was very decisive. I started to become very decisive, more decisive with myself as I reached 40. Then then 50, it shook me a little bit, right? 50, I cannot believe that I hit 50 now. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I hit 50, then I couldn't really believe it. Okay, yes, I teach MT, the impermanence, aging, all these things. But then experientially, it shook me a little bit because when I was first in Cambridge, okay, just for information, this is very important though. When I was like 12, I discovered the age of one of the senior students, whose age was like 16. You're already 16, you're old man. This was what came to my mind when I was 12. Eventually I became 16. Then I discovered the age of one of the teachers who was in his 30s. One day I will also become like him. He also went through the school. And then now he's in 30s. I'm also going through school. One day I'll also become like very old like him, 30s. No, it really disturbed me so much. Then eventually I became 30s. I became 30s. And then okay.
There's no movement. I suppose they have no internet.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay, there was a little internet problem there. Okay, tell me, what did you hear the last word? What was the last word that you heard? Jennifer, tell me. Jennifer, what?
When
Yeah.
when you hit 30?
Okay, that
When you
was
became 30s?
not a big gap. Okay, when I was 30s, I was in Cambridge. I was in Cambridge, and then my host, there was a group of people there, a host, and one of the professors who was a part of this host, I got a sense that he just celebrated his 50th birthday just 2 days ago, and then what is there to celebrate? Half a century gone, right? It is like preparing for your funeral. What is there to say? I didn't say this, of course. I didn't say this. I'm being very sensitive. So that was what was in my mind. Now I already hit the 50. So one time when I was in my 40s, which means that so when as compared to my early ages, 40 means very old. When in my 40s, I was in Varanasi, and the vice chancellor, he told me that he likes to invite me for a meal. Then there was another professor also, very senior lady professor, who must be in her late 70s. And the vice chancellor must have told the lady professor that the new director of Tibet House will join us. And I showed up, and the lady professor, she knew the former Tibet House director, who was in his late 60s. And when I showed up, the lady was a little shocked, pleasantly surprised. She said that, young director. I was already in my 40s. So it's all relative. It's all relative. Okay. So what I'm saying is that the aging, the point is that the people feel a little uncomfortable. And for some people, it is like Dharma related, because now I'm left with less time, right? So that gives me fear. So I have to do the Dharma practice more effectively. And for some people, it's because of the simply unpleasant feeling. I don't want to age, right? I don't want to look old. Okay, this is what is uneasy. So this is happening not on the sensory consciousness, it is happening on the mental consciousness. This distinction we should make. Mental unease and the sensory unease. In other words, unease happening on the mental level, is happening on the sensory consciousness level. You have consciousness at two: sensory consciousness and a mental consciousness. What I'm seeing, what you're hearing, they're all sensory consciousness, and what you're thinking, that is all mental. So mental consciousness can be effectively stopped by rectifying your cognitive thought process. So what we are doing here, this will help us to get into mental unease related to the aging. Now, physical aging is happening is also a problem. If you want to get rid of this, it's going to be a long process. You have to become like enlightened to some extent, where you will achieve what is known as a power, spiritual power, where the body will remain forever fresh, evergreen. You're getting it? That is a different story. Okay, so pertaining to the mental issues, mental unease, problems, all these things can effectively be tackled through the Dharma. Even in the short term, we can effectively tackle them. Okay, good. I will stop here for today. And if you have questions, feel free to bring these questions up the next 3 sessions. Okay, we'll stop here. And as a part of the Bodhicitta retreat, what we do is that, okay, from tomorrow, we will use this book. I hope you have this soft copy, The Blaze of Non-Dual Bodhicittas. So this book is so precious book, and you can just download it for free. This is from Tibet House, and we are going to use this from this book. And if you cannot download this, it's fine. Then we'll do a screen sharing from tomorrow, one part, and then at the end of the session we do a dedication. Okay, so we'll do the dedication now. Okay, let us pray that COVID-19 subsides, and that all the people, they go back to the normalcy, where all the tension, stress, anxiety, anguish, they all drop. And may what finally gives rise to the mental peace, the bodhicitta and the wisdom of emptiness, by eradicating the two internal factors, so that only one hand is left, external, which cannot create this sound of the miseries by itself, that everybody will find the absolute peace and infinite happiness. May the teaching on bodhicitta, may the teaching wisdom and emptiness, may His Holiness the Dalai Lama live long, and that his wishes be fulfilled spontaneously. And may all the leaders of the world, they learn from this incredibly great leader, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, how to tackle the world problems through the spirit of dialogue and the brotherhood and sisterhood. May all the great teachers like the Lama Sopa Rinpoche and my own great teachers, exceptional great teachers like Geshe Pandit Thapa Rinpoche, and Geshe Stavgye Rinpoche, and all these great teachers, may they have very, very, very long life, and may the aspirations for the world be fulfilled in full form. With this mind, let's recite the verses together. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All powerful Cherese Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. Just as the brave Manjushri and Samadhi too realize things they are, also I dedicate all these merits in the best way that I might follow the perfect example. I dedicate all these rules of virtue with the dedication praised as the best by all the Buddhas who appear in the three triumphs, so that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva's deeds. May the Supreme Bodhicitta that is not arisen arise and grow, and may that which is arisen not diminish but increase forevermore. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of Guru Buddha and lead all beings without exception into that enlightened state. I dedicate the merits thus gathered to its realization that is in the prayers of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of three times, and to the upholding of Dharma of teaching and realization. May I in all life, through the force of this merit, never separate from the four wheels of the Mahana vehicle, and accomplish all the stages of the path renunciation, bodhicitta, perfect way, and the two stages. With a wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. By the power of practicing and supplicating to you, may all be free from sickness, poverty, and conflicts, and may Dharma and the auspicious proliferate in all the places where we abide. The path of union of emptiness and compassion is loosely explained by the protector of both the Dharma and the beings of the land of snows. With the lotus holder Tenzin Gyatso, we supplicate you that your wishes are fulfilled spontaneously. May the operations of evil thoughts and deeds of the negative forces of humans or non-humans who harbor malice through perverted prayers against the teachings of the Buddhas be totally vanquished through the power of the truth of the three jewels. In all my lives, never separated from perfect gurus, may I enjoy the magnificent Dharma by completing the qualities of the stages and the paths, may clearly attain the state of Vajratara. Throughout my future lifetimes, may all of us be guided by Manjushri and be able to uphold the Dharma in general and the teachings on dependent origination in particular, even across my life. Sharing this one. Heart Sutra. Okay, be able to recite this mantra 3 times with the melody. And those of us who know how to recite this, you will say this with me, and the others listen to us and then join us. Okay, this mantra. And meaning we will explain in the following sessions. Gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhiswatyatha om gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhiswatyatha om gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhiswaha. Okay. See you all tomorrow. See you all. Yeah, tomorrow. Yeah.
Thank you, Geshe.
Thank you, Geshe.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Geshe.
Geshe.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Geshe.
Thank you
Geshe-la.
so much.
Thank you.
Geshe.
Tujanang Geshe.
Thank you, Geshe-la.
Thank you, Geshe-la.
Thank you, Geshe-la.